Recording in progress.
All right, so welcome everyone. This is day one of our strength and conditioning class. This is fall semester at Irvine Valley College. I'm your instructor, Coach Julio, Coach Jimenez, whatever you want to call me, just Coach, that works for me. No issues with that. So I'll be your instructor. This is day one. We meet Wednesdays at 2 p.m. You'll always find the Zoom link on the front page. If for some reason something happens where the class we can't meet live, I'll post a recording on the front page for you to follow along with. But after every session is being recorded. I try to upload the videos probably as soon as I can. Right now, my internet connection here, it took me about 6 hours to upload a video. That's about 45 minutes long. Back home, it takes me about 30 minutes. So it'll usually be up and within a couple of hours. So first thing, if you can't make it live, don't stress. If you're here right now, I promise you, you're not gonna get dropped from the class. Folks that do get dropped are usually the ones that I never hear about. I email, they don't respond. I email them again, they don't respond. Those are the folks that usually get dropped. So as far as this class, this is a strength and conditioning class. As mentioned, we start at 2 p.m. Listen to your bodies, okay? So sometimes I do have morning classes where maybe poor sleep or lack of sleep could influence a morning class a little bit more. But in the afternoon, right now we're still in midsummer. I mean, nowadays summer doesn't end at the end of August. It ends in like mid-October. So keep that in mind. So if there's a day where you're just feeling a little bit fatigued, exhausted, maybe you just realize you haven't drank too much water, what I would recommend is maybe just pushing the class to the evening hours and get some recovery, hydrate, and then do it where it's a little bit more comfortable. But I love to see everyone here live. I appreciate you guys for being here. Again, I think I mentioned to some of you, this is my second term here at Irvine Valley. This is my third class of this week. I have 4 classes. I teach like 2 stretching. I teach a stretching and balance class on Mondays at 2, a stretching class on Tuesdays at 9. Then on Wednesdays, I have this class. And then on Thursdays at 9, I have a lifting or a strength and balance class. So there's plenty of options. So if you're looking to not just improve your strength, you could improve your flexibility, you could improve your balance. So I do teach those, all the other classes. If you wish to enroll in those, just let me know and I could share the course number for those. The one nice thing about Irvine Valley College, it's that I believe that you could enroll into any class any time of the semester. So maybe right now you may not like me too much, or maybe this is completely brand new, and in about a month I warm up to you, and in a month you want to sign up for my other class, you could do that. Okay, so that's also an option, and not just my classes, but the other classes that are also being offered. I teach all online classes. I know Irvine Valley has a pretty good resume as far as live classes, especially line dancing classes. So if anyone's looking to line dance, there's a lot of those options too. So just keep that in mind. I have no rhythm, so I will not be teaching those classes. Now for this class, this is a strength and conditioning class. So that means that we're gonna be doing movement with our body weight, movement on the chair, movement standing up, sometimes kneeling, sometimes just being a little bit more active, and sometimes on the floor. Now, I've been doing this for about 6 years. I've been coaching at Long Beach City College, cross country and track for about 14 years. And I've been teaching these style of classes at Santa Ana College for about the last 6 years. Throughout that time, I've come across many folks that have a hard time getting down to the floor. So I usually try to either save those movements towards the end of class. So for my folks that can't do the floor exercises, they could start cooling down and stretching as we continue the workout. Or if it's just one of those things where you just slept with like your neck a little bit leaning over and you just feel tight one morning, then you could just move on from those floor exercises. But again, I mentioned earlier before I went live, I do have a survey on the front page. I'm asking everyone to share with me any setbacks you might have, any past history injuries. Maybe your knee gets swollen if you do lunges. Maybe you can't squat very low. Maybe after each lift, I might say, okay, we're only taking 30 or 40 seconds of rest. You might need 2 minutes, maybe you need 3 minutes. So if you find yourself in that position, don't feel like you're letting me down. Don't feel like you're gonna fail the class. Everyone's in different types of fitness and form right now. So the idea of this class is to get stronger throughout the next 15 or 16 weeks. And if we could see some progression, then I think, we hit our goal. So, and I understand a lot of people have different goals. And going back to the survey, if you could share your goals with me, I don't think there's a specific question for your goals, but if you could share that with me, that'd be perfect. I know some folks are in here to maybe get stronger. Maybe some just want to get out of bed and out of a chair a little bit easier and improve their form. There might be some folks that want to lose a little bit of weight. Might be some folks that want to gain a little bit of weight. So just depending on what you're looking for, make sure that you mention that, okay? Now for equipment, so, it is a lifting class. We do need a chair. There's gonna be many exercises that we use on a chair. So if you could have a chair, that'd be great. This chair, for example, is terrible. I'm right now in a condo. This chair, I could relax all the way back. If I'm trying to do shoulder press, I don't have good posture here, so I want something more upright that I could lean on, have a little bit more support. So if you look for a chair, just make sure that it's not something like a lazy boy or a sofa. You want something that's gonna be a little bit rigid and provide some support. Standing up, you just need a floor to stand up on, so not much to that. Now for the floor exercises, if you have a yoga mat, that will help. Like I mentioned, I teach from my garage. My garage has a cement floor, so I use a yoga mat on that. I don't want to be doing too many exercises on that. But if you have a soft carpet, or maybe you're comfortable with your floor, you could get a beach towel or something just so we have that there. What else? Equipment, now lifting equipment. I have a set of dumbbells. So these are 7 pounds. I would recommend for this class, if you have options or access to dumbbells, I would get anywhere between 2 pounds to maybe even 10 pounds. And you don't have to get a 2, a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It could just be like a set of 2s, maybe a set of 4s, and maybe a set of 7, okay? If you can't get any dumbbells, what next big thing would be maybe a couple of bricks. Bricks are a little heavier, that would work. If you have a water gallon could work like a kettlebell. You could hold that here and you could do chair squats. So just for the meantime, I do really want folks to invest in some equipment, especially as you're getting stronger. You might have to invest in a little bit heavier equipment too. So, but don't expect that I'm asking you to get a full gym. It's just the dumbbells. And probably the most affordable places I've seen dumbbells have been at like Ross or at Marshall's. Sometimes they just have those light dumbbells laying around throughout the store. Marshall's maybe, but other than that, really can't think of much more as far as equipment. A towel to dry yourself off, water, make sure you have that handy. The syllabus is also on the front page, so, but I'm pretty much going over everything that's on the syllabus at the moment. But yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not sure if I have anything else. The only thing is, if you do have hardwood floor, remember we do sweat sometimes. So the last thing I want is for you to slip on your own sweat, or maybe you have your rag towel there and you're doing a lunge and you step on it and you slip. So just be mindful of your surroundings. You don't want to have a shelf nearby that you're gonna tip over and maybe hit your head. So just make sure that your space is safe around. So any questions? I know it's a lot of information, but any questions regarding from what I just mentioned at the moment? If you have a question, I'm sure someone else has the same question, so don't be shy. It's the first day of class, so.
Will the workout be a full 50-minute workout, or?
Yeah, so good question. So I'll probably try to start by like 9:02, 9:03. Let some folks come in. I usually do about a 4 to 6 minute warm up, which we'll go through today. And then we'll do, so that should get us closer to like 9:08 or so. Then we'll do a circuit workout. So the style of workout that I'll do is maybe we'll do like bicep curls, and then the next movement we will sometimes, yeah, we'll do an upper body movement, and then the next movement will be a lower body movement, and then we'll repeat that a second time, and then we'll move on to the next set. And then so when we do those, sometimes we might get through maybe 8 to 12 different exercises, and with the cool down usually takes maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. What I do ask for the cool down, so it doesn't interfere so much with this class, is for your cool down. I almost prefer, instead of just stretching and doing this and hearing me talk, I almost prefer if you just went for a walk around your block or around your apartment complex, wherever you are, because that's going to relax your heart rate a little bit more efficiently than just stretching here. So, but all in all, we should be done most days between that 245 to like 250 range. So, any other questions? Feel free. Again, if you have questions, you can always unmute yourself. If you unmute yourself and speak up, that's probably the easiest way. If you want to just type in something on the chat, I'll get to it when there's a break in the class. And then again, as far as having your cameras on, I do like when the cameras are on, because I could correct your form. I also won't feel so lonely in here. I've been in some classes where it's 20 of us. I see 20 little tiles and they're all black. And then no one's talking, and then it's just me by myself. So it does help. So if you don't mind, and then I could also correct your form. So again, hey Jennifer. So she's my MVP right now. She's been taking every class I've been teaching. So again, like I gave an example earlier, if we're doing a shoulder raise, which is to work on your deltoids, the round part of your shoulder. If I ask you to do a shoulder raise here, but then I see maybe who's here? Maybe I see Alejandra going like way up here, right? So she does that too quickly or too much range of motion, she could irritate her shoulder. So I could I'll make those corrections if I visually see you. So yeah, so that's mainly why I like to have the cameras on. But if for any reason you don't want to turn them on, totally fine. I'm not gonna hold it against you. I've had some students for over 5 years, and I have no idea what they look like still. So just keep that in mind. So you guys should be fine. So yeah, so again, just make it a priority to try to find those dumbbells. Yard sales is a good place to find those too. Usually, if you don't know, well, how much are they usually? How much should I spend? If you're gonna get a deal, just think about each pound costs about $1 to $1.50. So if you're looking for a 2 or 3 pound dumbbell, do not pay more than like $4 for that, or $5, because now you're just getting ripped off or anything like that. So
I was gonna say play it against sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If there's one nearby, they're not everywhere, but
yeah,
they usually have good prices on things.
Stuff like that works. One of my runners, he actually brought a 20-pound bag of white rice, but he forgot his rice cooker, so now I have a 20-pound weight there. So again, that's something that could be cheaper than like a weight. So just think of anything that you could hold safely, and that should work. So alrighty, so let's go ahead. I know this session is going to be a little bit shorter than usual, just because of our introductions and questions. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through a series of warm-up stretches and movements, and then we'll go through a series of exercises. Does anyone already, can you give me a thumbs up on the emojis if you already own dumbbells? I just want to see from our folks here. All right, so we have dumbbells. Everyone that's on camera has dumbbells. Bernadette has them. Sweet, awesome. About half the class has them already. So yeah, so the other half, if you could just do me that favor and get them, that'd be great. Otherwise, when we're doing bicep curls, you're just gonna have to grab, whatever you can around your area and then just work on that. Good. Yoga mats, like I said, that's not mandatory. That's more of a comfort thing. But we will be doing some exercises on the floor. Can you give me thumbs up on the emojis if you absolutely cannot get down to the floor? So again, I'm just seeing the responses here. So, okay, I see one. I see 1.5. Someone seems unsure a little bit. Okay, good. So again, I think for you, if you had your thumbs up, I had 2 people now. If that's the case, just remind me because I'll forget. And when we get down to the floor, there could be a session or a movement that we're doing push-ups. If you have dumbbells, you could do underhand front raises, and that also works your chest. Okay, so we could find alternate movements. And again, the last thing is if we're doing a movement that irritates a joint or a muscle, please do not do it. Let me know. There's a difference between you actually being injured or you being stubborn with it. And I bring the word stubbornness because sometimes it's like, well, I need to be tougher. I need to like get up and like do this. The moment you start lifting like that, or like the younger generation calls it ego lifting, where ego becomes a thing, that's when we start hurting ourselves. So again, I want you to have good form, good range of motion, and I don't want to see injuries because a lot of things that happen, especially with lifting, you'll think, oh, if I lift fast, I'm getting a better workout because I'm gonna sweat. I teach cardio classes. This is not a cardio class, okay? This is a strength class. So we want good form. So if you're here doing 10 of these when I'm barely at number 3 and number 4 and you're at number 10, you need to slow down, okay? I'm just gonna be straight up and let you know because you're gonna hurt yourself and nothing good is gonna come of that, okay? Alrighty. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. Do you have another question, Rudy?
Yeah, just a quick question.
Yep.
Do we need our chair today?
We may, yeah. If you want to have that handy, we may. We could do some balance and chair squats with it, actually. I was planning on doing 1 or 2 exercises with our chair. So, cool. All right, so we'll get started. I'll get to this chat real quick. All right, Leslie, you have your dumbbells. Perfect. Thank you. I know sometimes I'll ask these questions and only 2 people respond out of 15, and I'm just like, all right, that was not the greatest feedback, but most of you are responding right now. All right, so we're gonna go with the stretch session. It's gonna be very minimal today with our lifting, and then we'll go our cool down, and at least we'll burn something right now, okay? So let's just look with our neck. We're gonna go left to right. So again, when we're stretching, we wanna do slow movements. I feel like I'm shouting right now, so feel free to lower the volume if I'm a little loud. There's also construction, and our condo's right next to a highway, so apologize for the noise. Now up and down. I usually track I have one of those fitness trackers on my watch, so I like tracking how many calories are burned during these sessions. Let's do our neck circles. So gently rotate your head around your shoulder, your chest. Switch. Very good. Let's reach up towards the ceiling. So reach with your hands. So next week and the week after that, I'm gonna run 2 different styles of classes. So one we'll do where we just do 2 exercises and go back and forth. Let's lean to the right. And then the following class, I'll do one style where we do more of like a series of exercises. So instead of doing, the first 8 minutes with 2 exercises, let's switch. We'll go through maybe 15 or 16 different exercises and we won't repeat any of them. And that just keeps things a little bit more interesting, not as boring. I know sometimes doing the same thing could get a little boring. So yeah, so we'll have that, and then after we do a couple of workouts, I'll give you folks to give me a little bit more feedback on what we want to do as well. Okay, so let's do our snow angels. So we're just gonna go here, and both things have their pros and their cons. Again, when you're doing the style of exercises that we're gonna do today, the pros is that when you do a movement, you know, you do bicep curls and then maybe you do air squats, and then you do bicep curls and then you do air squats again. The positive about that, it's that, let's bring that right arm across. It's that you're working out and you're lifting, doing the same exercise. So now we're fatiguing the muscle, and the muscle usually grows when it's fatigued, when it's getting stressed. So that's the benefit of doing, you know, the two movements back to back. Now the con is that it could get repetitive and sometimes could get boring, but that's more of like something we just gotta get past through mentally. And then of course the other style of just doing different exercises throughout the entire class is that it just keeps it a little bit more entertaining, more interesting. But the con there is that you're not getting that stress on that specific muscle like you would with the first series that I spoke about. All right, so let's go ahead and do trunk rotation. So for this one, our feet are gonna be flat, okay? A little bit wider than shoulder width, and then just gently rotate your trunk left to right. So again, just your feet don't move. We're just rotating your trunk. And as you do these a little bit more, you'll notice that you're able to rotate a little bit further side to side. Okay. This next one is big hula hoops. So this is one of my favorite stretches. I do this right before I go on my runs. So again, same stance, but now we're gonna do these exaggerated hip circles. Okay, so just stick your hips out as wide as possible. If you're liking this warm-up routine and you're like, oh, like I just want to do this type of stuff and I don't really want to lift weights, then the other two classes that I teach might be for you, okay? But again, we do this warm-up for about 6 minutes just to make sure we get a good movement. Let's switch. So again, exaggerate. So if you're doing little circles here, that you're not doing anything, okay? Make sure you go wide. The wider you go, the more you're stretching your hip flexors, okay? We have about 2 more stretches and then we'll start with our short workout for today. All right, next is gonna be for our hamstrings, okay? So this stretch, I just slide my hands down as I'm bringing my hips down. I grab my ankles and then I just extend at my knees and stick my glutes out. So as I'm extending my knees from bent here to extension, you should feel that stretch on your hamstring. Okay, so keep your head down. When we're in this position, you don't want to be looking around because you could tweak your neck. So hopefully, I'm hearing some popping on my ankles. All right, and this next one could be a little bit of a challenge. This is gonna be a deep squat stretch. So to get to the height that I'm about to get, it took me some months. So what we're gonna do is just drop wide stance. Drop your hips. Some of you, this might be as low as you go, but if you could go lower, torso's upright, you know, we're stretching our hip flexors. So if you're here, don't feel bad. Most of my teenage runners, they're right here. They can't really go. And if we need to get up, feel free to stand up. If you're comfortable here, just shift left to right a little bit. And let's rise. Very good. Okay, I'm looking at the clock. We're at 2:30 already. So I think for this series, what we're gonna do is maybe just go through each exercise once so we could kind of just experience a little bit more. I really don't want to rush, you know, like a solid workout into just like 12 minutes. So, all right, so if you have your dumbbells, go ahead and grab those, okay? Let me see. Hi, Susan. All right, so if you have your dumbbells, so one thing with dumbbells is sometimes most people, what I see done incorrectly is they don't do the full range of motion, okay? So we're gonna do bicep curls. So I'm gonna turn sideways so you could see what the range of motion that I'm talking about. So we're gonna go all the way up and then all the way down. One thing that I see a lot of people do incorrectly is they'll go up and then they'll stop here. Here to here. If you do that, you're gonna start walking around like this around, okay? So that happened to me a lot in high school where I thought I looked cool and I was just teaching my arms to go this far. All right, so let's go ahead and do anywhere 8 to 12, okay? So try to follow my pace, okay? So don't try to go, if you could go, I guess, a little slower, but I don't want you to go any faster. And then cues for breathing. When you are bringing your body together, so when you're here, inhale. As you're going apart or away from your lungs, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. I'm gonna do 2 more. Inhale, exhale. Last one. Make sure you get that full range of motion and down. All right, gonna push this off to the side. So usually during these types of workout, I like taking about 30 to 40 seconds recovery, okay? The idea behind getting that full rest is that you're gonna be fully rested, that you're gonna have good form for the next exercise. If you don't recover and you want like, oh, no rest, like let's just go to the next one, you're gonna be tired, and if I have you do lunges, you're gonna be over here, and then you're not gonna be, you're gonna be stuttering, so you're gonna catch our breath. So speaking of lunges, that's the next movement that we're gonna do, okay? So I know lunges sometimes could irritate our knee. Maybe you have bad history with lunges or experiences. So I'm gonna give 2 options, okay? So our options are gonna be step back, reverse lunges. So we're just here, we're resetting, okay? Our second option, this is usually what I have my folks that have their knees bother them a little bit. You're just gonna do a split stance and we go right here, okay? So what I want you to do is if you're doing the reverse lunges, give me 8 on each side. If you're doing the split stance, do 8 on one side first and then 8 on the other, okay? So again, try to follow my pace. Ready? And, oh, sorry, one more thing. If balance is an issue, what you could do with lunges, instead of going directly back, you could go a little bit wider. So this would be directly back here. If balance, it's compromising us, go wide and then down, okay? So your base is a little bit stronger. Ready, begin. So here. We're doing 8 on each side. And this is one that you could typically do with dumbbells at your side. Okay, so I know for some of you, you're gonna get fit and a regular lunge isn't gonna be enough. So you're gonna have dumbbells at your side. If you don't have your dumbbells, if you have a small dog or a small cat or a toddler, you could carry them, hold them here, and that's gonna add some resistance. Maybe you have a plant that you like a lot and you could hold it here and just don't drop your pot. You don't want that pot to crack. All right, and rest, okay? Very good. So we did one upper body, we did one lower body. If you notice, bicep curls kind of trains your biceps here. Reverse lunges trains more of your quadricep muscles, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, we're gonna work on our shoulders next. So for shoulders, there's not much that we can do without dumbbells. So I usually do recommend having dumbbells. So if you have your dumbbells handy, I'll give you 30 seconds to go search for them. If you don't have dumbbells right now, you could at least mimic the movement that we're doing, okay? So maybe you have 2 water bottles. That's gonna be about 1 pound each, so. All right, so we're gonna do a shoulder press. This is one of the more taxing movements that you could do for your shoulders, but also get the most bang for your buck, okay? So if you're familiar with shoulder press, sometimes what you'll see is folks come directly to their side and press. okay? That's what you see a lot of. I don't like that angle too much. First of all, if you're here and back, your shoulders could get tight. And if you're here, you could almost like start aching at your back. So what I like doing is doing a split stance. Again, we're working out our shoulders. We're not working out our hips. So this place here is securing our body. And then I want to be about maybe 15 degrees forward, okay? So if you don't know what I mean by that, this would be like at 0 degrees. I don't want that. We want to be at like 15, okay? So you start from here. You want to be like right there. This is one that you could do sitting down as well. Ready? So 8 to 10 and begin. So exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Follow my pace. 4, 5. You want to look straight forward. Don't look to the side. 7, 8. If you're feeling good, give me 10, 9, and 10. Awesome. Put those down. All right. All right. Hopefully you have your chair nearby. We will be using our chair at the moment. So, all right, Jennifer, you know what we're about to do. We're gonna do our chair squats, okay? So this is one of the exercises that I usually, when I started teaching my balance classes, the main thing that I got told for the balance class is, please teach folks how to get out of a chair without using their hands in case of an injury for their arms, okay? So these are gonna be chair squats. So for this, we don't want a narrow stance with our feet, because if we do this, we're gonna fall. It's better to be at the same width or a little bit wider than your hips, or you could go a little bit wider, but usually the same width as your hips works, okay? So let's practice just going from this position to standing without using our hands for support, okay? So we're here and then back down, okay? If you wanna use your hands for support, because we're not sure right now of our balance, you could press on your legs to get up. But eventually I do want you to just become dependent on your legs and not your arms. We're gonna do 10 of these and then sit back. Another thing that we wanna avoid, so I think we're all at 4. So let's take a little quick break. What I don't want you to do is do this here, where we're sitting down and then doing this, okay? You could be in a chair that doesn't allow that movement to happen, so try to not become reliant where you're rolling your torso. All right, let's do 6 more. And again, as we get stronger, we'll have a dumbbell here, we'll hold it. But this is one that I like doing for my folks that, you know, sometimes have trouble with balance. All right, very good. Quick little break. We're gonna do a variation of this one. So again, this is included in my balance class, but I like doing this one. So what this simulates, this next one, it's gonna be if you have a sprained ankle, a broken leg, a hurt hip, inflammation on your knee, and you can only become dependent on the other leg. We're gonna practice this right now, okay? So pretty much what I want you to do is your right foot, maybe your heel, right now your feet are right next to each other, or at least parallel to each other. Let's bring your right heel maybe to where your left toe is, okay? So shift that foot forward. Your right heel now is at the same position across from your toes, okay? So it's a little bit staggered. All right, so let's do 5 of these. So from here, you'll notice that that leg that's closer to you is gonna be a little bit more active. If that seems a little easy and you're feeling a little brave, you could extend that leg a little bit more. And you'll notice now we're really pushing the limits of that leg. Okay, so let's do 5, 1 more. All right, good. the nice thing also about doing unilateral movements like this is where you find out if you have a leg that's stronger than the other, okay? So now we're gonna do the same with our left. So left shift our left heel to this across our right toe. Fingers crossed that it doesn't feel weaker, but if it does, then we have some work to do, okay? So again, 5 of these. You might be like, oh, that feels easier. Or, oh, I have poor balance on that leg. So it just depends. And again, we don't want to rock, we just want to stand. 2 more. Another thing, sometimes I'm very terrible at counting. So I might say do 10 and I could be at 5 or at 6 and you'll see me stop. So just count on your own sometimes, because don't count on me to count, pretty much. All right. Quick question. So we'll take a little break right now. Did anyone right now find out that they have a leg stronger than the other? Give me a thumbs up if you did. If you feel, okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. All right, so yeah, so we have some folks that 4, all right, maybe 5. Okay, we have 5, maybe 6. So, okay, I'm not trying to increase that number. If anything, we want to reduce that. So we're strong on both sides, okay? So, all right, so we did legs. Now let's go ahead and do one for our back, okay? So this next one, believe this one will be our last one, and then we'll go into our cool down, and then I'll answer any more questions that we may have. All right, so if you happen to have a dumbbell or a heavy object, I'd say nothing heavier than like 10 pounds. These are called good mornings. This is gonna be for your lower back. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I have my dumbbell here. I'm gonna press it up against my chest. I'm gonna cross my hands, so I'm gonna hold it like this. I'll show you. I'm just holding my dumbbell like this, okay? And what I'm gonna do, slight bend at the knee. All the hinging, all the movements happening at the hips, okay? So I don't wanna arch my back. So a good thing to think about is don't roll your shoulders over, okay? So just keep your back straight and then just hinge at the hips. So we just wanna do this movement here. And up. You might even feel that on your hamstring, okay? Let's do 8 of those, so at the same pace. 2, 3, and you notice how slow the movement is, so. And then just some things to practice. When you are doing anything that involves your back, your neck, your shoulders, keep your head in the same position as your spine, okay? So don't rotate your head left to right. Don't be looking around. If you hear a noise to your right side or some bang or something, correct your form first and then put the item down and then take a look, because what could happen is as we are keeping our back stable and we're trying to fortify it and you suddenly turn, you're really gonna pull something out here, okay? All right, I think that's good for day 1. We're gonna go ahead and just start our cool down right here. I'll mention a couple of things that I think you could take away from this class for today, or at least add for future classes, okay? So we'll do some of like my favorite stretches. We'll go ahead and do the performance stretch. So we're gonna bring your left ankle on your right knee. If for some reason this movement here is hard to do right now, what you could do is just lengthen this leg first and then put it on top, and then you could kind of bring your leg up. Okay, so you're gonna feel that stretch underneath your leg on that piriformis muscle. If you've heard of sciatic nerve or sciatica, that piriformis muscle goes around, or kind of the sciatic nerve goes through that piriformis. So sometimes this could help alleviate any back pain, or the sciatic nerve just kind of runs through like most of like your lower body. It could help with that. Add a little bit of pressure downwards. And now let's bring that knee up and let's hug it out. And if right now you feel like, oh, this class is really easy, I don't know if this is too easy for me, I thought I was gonna break a sweat. Right now we probably did like 30% of like our typical class, okay? So just be prepared. If you feel like this is just right, then what you may have to do, let's switch. So right ankle on that left knee. What you may have to do is just take a little bit more rest in between exercises. And if you feel like you want to burn calories, does anyone give me thumbs up if anyone has goals of like shedding a couple pounds, maybe losing a little bit of weight? Okay, I see a thumbs up. That seemed like that's the main goal of this class. All right. All right, so yeah, so that's a priority. So what I would say is this gentle push down is, if as a consensus a lot of us want to lose weight, what I would recommend is then we might reduce the rest a little bit so we do get a little bit of cardio out of it. Let's bring that knee up. Or the other option would be is, if we don't want to do that, we could just keep the rest the same. But I'll give you folks at the beginning of each class, hey, if our goal is to lose weight, instead of taking 30 seconds rest, I want you to do 20 seconds of jumping jacks every time after a movement. Okay, and that's going to keep your heart rate elevated and all of that stuff. Okay, so, all right. So, Joe, did we have a question? Sorry, I saw you go unmuted. Let's go ahead and do trunk rotation. So grab the base of the chair with your left hand and then the backrest with your right. And just gently turn. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, now's a good time to answer. And then also another quick question, if you could give me a thumbs up if you are. But if you are enrolled in my Thursday class, can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, I see 1, 2. Or if you're gonna be enrolled, I'm still crossing my fingers for higher enrollment. All right, we're at 4. Okay. Oh.
Sorry, what time is the Thursday one?
Thursday is at 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and same thing, there'll be recordings if you can make it. So I bring that up because this is a lifting class, strength and conditioning, and then Thursday's strength and balance. So I just want to make sure if there's a lot of us in here that are on Thursday, then I don't want to double dip movements, right? So I don't want to do the same thing on both days. I want to switch it up a little bit more. So, but good to know. All right, last thing is we're going to do hip openers. Okay, so our knees are facing forward. We're going to bring the right leg out to the side. If you're just here, very likely that your knee's just going to collapse on its own. So what I want you to do is place your hand here so we could have that stretch. So I'm close to a 90-degree angle here, and it helps if you're not slouching. You want to be upright. Oof. For those of you that are returning to me from the summer, thank you. I really appreciate you returning, and it means a lot, especially when I have folks retaking my courses. And if this is your first time with me, I really appreciate you just for giving me an opportunity to lead you in this class. So hopefully, yeah, we could continue taking more classes, or if you enjoyed this one. But again, this is my second term here. And yeah, I'm excited. It seems like Irvine Valley, I met the staff in person last week, and yeah, they're all very welcoming people. If you've taken their classes before, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, they made me feel welcome right away. All right, and I always say this is our last stretch, and it never is. There's always one more. I just continue going. But we just want for our ankles, elevate your foot and just trace the letters of the alphabet, okay? I know it's 2:51, but again, I just felt like I talked a little bit too much today. So I just want to make sure that we walk away but feeling good here. Do we have any questions before we head out? Let's switch. So again, if you now, what I'm gonna ask you to do, if you could spend maybe the next couple of minutes, it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes, but if you could just go on the front page of the Canvas course shell and right under the link that got you to this Zoom class, there should be a little hyperlink that says quiz1/survey. If you could fill that out, that would mean a lot to me because now I have a little bit more information on the entire class as far as how we could program our exercises. So yeah, if you could just do that for me before you shut down your computer or your phone, that'd be awesome. But I'll answer any questions now. You're free to go if your time's up, but I'll also stick around for another 5 minutes or 10 if anyone has any questions. But again, I really do appreciate everyone. If you're leaving, thank you. And if you're sticking around, I'll be here for your questions. Thank you again, everyone. Let me come closer to talk to you people.
Thank you, Julio. See you tomorrow.
Of course. All right, Rudy. Yep. See you. Thank you for enrolling.
Sure.
Bye, Jennifer. If I